Hello friends, my name is Shivam from DevOps Schools and I will help you to enable your learning process in various technologies of DevOps, artificial intelligence, machine learning, big data and many more. This is our initiative to help you by sharing multiple tutorials and videos. And if you want any specific tutorials or any particular topic, then please do comment in the below comment section and I will help you with it. Also, please subscribe to our premium services on YouTube, which will give you access to more content and videos to enhance your knowledge about all these topics. Also, if you want me to help you with regards to the online trainings and classroom sessions by our qualified trainers, then please do write me at contact@devopsschool.com. Thank you.
So here I was talking about the controller manager, right? Controller manager. So here if I look at this phase, your controller manager can act like a two eyes, who's control the things and update to your memory, right? So here this is a controller manager. Let me tell you here, controller manager always runs in the loop, always runs in the loop. Now fourth component what we have for the Kubernetes is kube scheduler. So what is a scheduler? So basically it receives a request from the API server for the new pod. Remember the pod which you don't know, but one thing which we know is node has a pod, node may have a multiple pod, and pod has a container, pod may have a multiple container. So here scheduler watches API server for new pod request and assign work to the node. So basically who assign the work to the node? Scheduler. Scheduler assign work to the node, and it has a certain affinity and affinity and constraint as well. So now if I look at this here, who can be acting like a scheduler? This one. So see here, look at my arrow. Receive the request, store it, monitor it, and schedule the work. So basically, master has four components all together. This we call it master, which include API server, cluster store, controller, and scheduler. Did you understand that, guys? Everyone? Guys, I'm audible? Okay, great. So guys, let's understand this here. Master, also known as a control plane component, has a four components: API server, cluster store, scheduler, and controller manager. API server is central, simple, RESTful API and update etcd. Cluster store, which basically store the persistent data stored in the key and value format, powered by etcd, and you can watch it. Scheduler watches API server, schedule the pod, resources and resource constraint you have in scheduler, and controller manager, which runs in the loop, manages the lifecycle functions and desired state and many more. So this is the master, guys. So now look at the architecture in a different way right now. Look at this here. This is architecture again. There is a master. Look at this very carefully. Master receives the communication from your laptop, that's the workstation. Your laptop, we have a kubectl. And kubectl in your workstation, in your laptop, you write a JSON file, you send it to the API server using kubectl. API server store that information in the cluster store. Controller keep checking the entire cluster and updating the API server. And if any mismatch happens, scheduler schedule the work to the node. And node has what? Pod. And pod has what? Container. So now we have understood the master component very well. So now let's focus on the minions. So guys, we have multiple names for the minions also. We call it a node, or we can call it a Kubernetes worker, or we can call it a minions. So whatever you want to call it, it's the same thing. So guys, minion have three components. Node has a three component. First one is kubelet. So guys, this is one of the kind of application. It's an agent which is running in the each node of the cluster. Mind it, I said this one is running in the each node of the cluster. So what exactly this is? So this is the main Kubernetes agent. Basically, kubelet only registered a node with the cluster. This keep watching the API server, and kubelet only instantiate a pod. Remember here, scheduler schedule the work, but kubelet receive it and instantiate a pod, and then report back to the master and exposes endpoint on 10255. That's your agent. In short, agent for the Kubernetes is called kubelet. Okay, is that understood? Is that understood, guys? Okay, now guys, this one you know very well, in fact. This one you know very well. Container engine, Docker. By the way, guys, in the Kubernetes, you can replace Docker with something else also, like a Rocket, Cryo, ContainerDB, Podman. Many things can be possible here. So yes, this you know. And you know, these are the networking requirements for the Kubernetes. Remember that the limitation of container technology, limitation of the Docker is container is not accessible to the load balancer. All containers of that particular host is not accessible to the load balancer because of networking challenges. So Kubernetes says, okay, we need a networking solution. Using that networking solution, all pod can communicate with each other on all the nodes. Read it very carefully. All pods can communicate with each other on all the nodes. All nodes can communicate with all the pods. So here, if I look at it, if I read it carefully, that means we are not talking to the container at all. Yes, we are talking to the pod. You are not accessing the container directly, but you are accessing the pod. And pod has a container. So what is the pod? We don't know, but one thing I know that for sure, pod is running in the node. In the one node, you have a multiple pod. Pod may have a container. Pod may have a multiple containers. Pod can be accessible in the cluster by the load balancer. That's the requirement for by the Kubernetes. So here, who's making it all this possible? Third component of the which is running in the each node of the cluster, and that we call it a kube proxy. So guys, kube proxy is a component which is running in the each node of the cluster, and their job is to assign an IP address to the pod. Yes, pod get IP address. That means any containers which you have in the pod, let's say all the containers which you have in the pod can be accessible through the IP address of the pod. And because of that, pod can be accessible across the node. So all the nodes can access all the pod in the cluster. So it can be load balanced as well. So that requirement is solved here with the help of kube proxy. So what is a kube proxy, how it works and all, that's a different question, but this solves your networking problems. So guys, Kubernetes can help you to manage the multiple containers in the multiple host. Kubernetes can manage the networking problems of the container through kube proxy and pod concept. But still, what is a pod? We don't know. But overall, guys, these are the three components in the each worker, each node you will get it. Kubelet, which is a main Kubernetes agent. Container agent, it can be Docker, Rocket, Podman, and many more. And kube proxy, which is a networking services in Kubernetes. So all together, guys, here, this is the communication. Look at it. We all talk to API server, and within the cluster communications which we have discussed, but how this node talk to the API server. So kubelet keep talking to the API server, kubeproxy keep talking to the API server, and API server keep talking to the cluster store to update the entire things which you have, which it happens. So nodes, what is a node? So guys, node has kubelet, kubeproxy, and container runtime. Kubelet monitor API server changes, responsible for pod lifecycle, reports node and port state, pod liveliness and proc. Kubeproxy, network, proxy, IP tables, implement services, routing traffic to the pod, load balancing as well. Container runtime, you know it very well. So this is the one. There are a few more components which we have in the cluster like a DNS, ingress, and dashboard. I'm just skipping it because that's the thing. Now we got to know master and the worker, but what about the workstation, your laptop? In your laptop, remember, you have, look at it one more time. In your laptop, what you have? Look at it. In your laptop, you have kubectl. And what do you write? You write in JSON or YAML. Using YAML, using kubectl, you send that information to API server. But what you write, that is important because everything will be done by Kubernetes. So what do you want to write? So guys, that I'm going to show you now. So guys, this is the world of declarative language versus desire. So first question is, what is your desire? What you want from the Kubernetes? Tell me. What you want from the Kubernetes, you need to tell me. You need to express. But how to express? You need to declare. In which language? So guys, you need to declare in the declarative language. Which are those? YAML and JSON. So guys, what you want, put it in YAML file. What you want, put it in the JSON file. And send it to API server through kubectl. And you will see the magic. So what you want 3 pods of what? Nginx. You know that this desire is gone to API server. They will store in the etcd. Controller manager will say, do we have 3 pod of Nginx? He'll say no. Then API server will instruct the scheduler, go ahead and create 3 pods. And you got the 3 pods. How? Because node scheduler assign the work to the kubelet. In the each node, kubelet will instantiate a pod, and then kubelet asks Docker, please fill the container. And then kubelet asks kubeproxy, please fill the IP address. Everything is done and it's running. Desire versus actual is matching. But suddenly what has happened? One node is down because of some reason, I don't know. So desire and actual is mismatch. You don't have to get up in the morning. You will not get called for it because everything will be taken care by the Kubernetes. Done. How it has happened? Let me remind you. The moment the actual number is become 2, whereas the desire was 3, controller manager will report back to the API server saying that, okay, we got only 2 pods in the cluster. The API server will say, okay, in my cluster store, I have a 3 desire where you are reporting 2. That means 1 is missing. So, okay, scheduler, please go ahead and create 1 pod. So scheduler will assign that work to the node, one of the node, and for the 1 pod, remaining pod, 3 by 3, everything is matched, desire, and is matching with actual. Okay, desire is matching with actual. So guys, ultimately what you need to know. So guys, you need to know only what you want, that's all. Because Kubernetes will give you everything. What you want the pods, you want controllers, you want services, you want storage. What do you want? Tell me, and Kubernetes will give it to you. So you have to write what you want in the YAML or JSON. From the kubelet, you need to send it to API server. Rest of the things, just forget about it. So guys, we are going to spend remaining 2 days of learning what we want. We'll set up the cluster also. But remaining 2 days, we are going to spend with what you want. Do you want port? Do you want controller? Do you want service? Do you want something else? So guys, now I'm going to learn what is a pod. So guys, one thing is, which is very simple. I don't know what is a pod, but so far what I have learned, pod is, let me recall this stuff, whatever I have learned so far myself. Pod, node has a pod. Node may have a multiple pod. Pod have a container, one container. Pod may have a multiple container. Pod get IP address from the kubeproxy, but pod get instantiated by kubelet in the worker. Now, based on the request from the scheduler, scheduler get a request from API server, and API server request only if that things is mismatch in the etcd. etcd, how it get? From your U. So it's a very simple concept, guys. You send the request to API server, server stored in the etcd, and controller manager keep reporting everything to the API server, and then this is how it works. Remember, let me tell you all this complexity. Again, I'm saying you don't need to know. It's good you are knowing actually, but you don't need to know because everything will be done by Kubernetes. You just need to write only one thing, and that is your YAML packages, just JSON packages. So guys, so far it's clear. Can we go ahead with the pod definition now? So far clear? Can you confirm in the chat box? Okay guys, so now we are going to learn about a pod. What is a pod? So guys, it's a very simple thing. You know, when we talk about the virtual machine, let's say VMware, then VMware manages what? VMware manages the VM, virtual machine. When I talk about the Docker, Docker manages what? Docker manages container. So guys, think about it. You want to orchestrate the container. So Docker manages the container, not the Kubernetes. So guys, Docker can manage the container. Kubernetes cannot manage the container. So what Kubernetes can manage? So Kubernetes can manage the pod. Simple. Now guys, VM has what? Virtual machines has what? It has operating system. Container has what? It has no operating system. You know that very well by now because we have discussed so much. I'm going to skip it. Container has what? You know that. But guys, pod has what? Pod has a container. VM is running as long as the PID one is running. Container is running as long as the PID one is running. Pod is running as long as the container within the pod of that particular pod is running. Pod is running when all the containers of that particular pod is running. So what is a pod, guys? The pod is the atomic unit of scheduling in Kubernetes. That means when you talk about the Kubernetes, you want to run application, you talk about the pod. Pod has a container, and container comes from image. Image comes from hub.docker.com. You know that, or you have created it. Are you understanding all these aspects, guys, or not? Say yes or no in the chat box. Yes. So guys, let's move on. So guys, here pods may have a container, pods may have a multiple container. Pods get, yes, here pod get all the namespaces allocation, not a container here. So pod get a network and kernel namespaces. Pod, you have a two containers. This is called tight coupling. Okay, two containers can talk to each other within a localhost context. Pod may have a multiple, one pod, one container is ideal. This is called loose coupling. It's the best one. They communicate through the network. So here you see here one pod, one Nginx container, one pod, 5 Nginx container. This is wrong. Why? Because ultimately load balancing you will do with only one Nginx. So remaining is why you are wasting running all this container. It's wrong. When you have a pod, two container, first container we call it main container, second container we call it sidecar container. The pod is sharing all in the environment. Mind it here. Pod, whatever the environment you get it, like a networking, IPC, mounts, and whatever it is, they share with every container. Yes. Same network is accessible to all the containers, same IPC is accessible to all the containers, same mount is accessible to all the containers. So whatever the pod gets it, accessible to all the containers. Pod can be scaled. So from one pod, you can make it to another pod. So from one pod to make it another pod, that's in a pending state. So these are the life cycle of the pod. Remember guys, pod cannot be created. Pod can be instantiated. Pod is not a physical stuff. You cannot experience it. You cannot touch it. You can still go inside a container, but you cannot go inside a pod. Pod is the logical concept, logical way to wrap around the container to solve the problem of limitation of Docker. Remember, so pod is pending because the container is not running. Container is running, so pod is running. Container got succeeded and failed, so pod also gets succeeded and failed. This is the life cycle. Guys, here pod gets C groups and namespace allocations. One container is running on 80 port. Second container is running on 5000 port of that particular pod. From outside, if you want to access it, IP address of the pod. From inside, if you want to access, localhost. Each pod can communicate with the pod network. Yes, I repeat, each pod communicate with each other over the pod network powered by qproxy. Mind it, who assigned the IP address to the pod? qproxy. So they communicate with each other over the pod networking, not on the node networking. Like guys, here, if you have a pod, one pod, two containers, these containers talk to each other through the local host, but from outside, IP address of the pod and port number of the container. Mind it. What is a pod? So guys, pod is having one or more containers. Pod is your applications or services. Pod is the most basic unit of work. Pod is the unit of scheduling in Kubernetes. Yes, pods are imperial. That means if the pod is ever, no pod is ever redeploy. I repeat, if the pod is gone, you will not get back the same pod. You can get the similar pod. You cannot get the same pod. Mind it. I repeat, you can get the similar pod. You cannot get the same pod again. Atomicity, they are there or not? What is the job of the Kubernetes? To keep your pods running and manage their state, health, and liveness props. So guys, this is a pod. Any questions so far? Any questions? Okay guys, so far we have discussed about what is Kubernetes, why Kubernetes, how Kubernetes works, Kubernetes architecture, master, worker, components of master, components of worker, and then one of the resources which you desire, and that is called pod. Okay. And tomorrow sessions, what we are going to do is we are setting up the Kubernetes cluster, and after doing nothing but learning the pod, services, and many other features, because everything will be done by Kubernetes, you just need to write a YAML file, keep sending to the Kubernetes and get the things done. Okay.
Please enroll our general membership for $399 plan to get access of all the parts.
Along with that, you can access our other tutorials such as Docker, Ansible, Jenkins, Terraform, Splunk, AWS, Azure, and various other DevOps related premium tutorials with our channel membership. If you would have any issues with our channel membership, you can drop an email to us at contact@devopsschool.com, or you can also unsubscribe from channel membership anytime if you don't want to continue or did not like the video. To get our channel membership, click onto the join button, select the $399 plan, and grow your skills immensely. Please be kind enough to like it, and you can comment any of your doubts and queries. We will reply to them at the earliest. Thanks for watching.